Hey guys, MC Stu here, and today I want to go over what World of Warships is. Is it a good game? What do I like about it? And is it worth playing in 2022? So what is World of Warships? The website describes it as a massive multiplayer game, which it certainly is. I like to characterize it from a gameplay standpoint. If chess and a first-person shooter had a baby, it would be World of Warships on the ocean. High-level overview is that you pilot your ship along with a team of 15 or potentially less, depending on the particular game mode, against other real-life players, or if you want to play against AI, you can do that as well, and position yourself, anticipate the enemy, and attack and destroy them, or capture strategic targets in order to collect enough points in order to win the match. The mechanics of the game are really, for me, what makes it extremely fun. Each ship has a unique layout and complement of different kinds of weapons, from large cannons to secondaries to torpedoes, or if you're in a carrier, using a carrier, different types of planes that you can attack and pilot squadrons. Each ship has a specific and unique armor layout to it, which is important in the way that not just it protects you, but understanding when you're shooting at another ship where the weak spots are, or if they're angled a certain direction. It's also important for you to understand your ship and the armor layout and your angling and things like that, so that you don't expose yourself to potentially unnecessary damage by poor piloting, or in some cases the enemy just anticipates your movements better than you're doing to them, and you find yourself broadside, say, to a battleship and take some major damage, or you're destroyed. So the gameplay itself is really cool. I really enjoy it. The guns aren't just a difference in power and size, but also shell velocity, the firing arcs. And there's a lot of different and a lot of specific intricacies to each of the ships and the complement of weapons that they have on it, and then positioning yourself around the map, using islands to your advantage, knowing what your detection range is, when to fire, not to fire. So by taking all of this into consideration when you're in a match and playing, you end up with a very complex battle space that has lots of intricacies and strategy. It's just immense, the things that you have to consider and do in order to perform well, and it's just a ton of fun. Every now and then you'll jump into a battle and you'll just throw caution to the wind and go in brawling, and that can be just as fun as playing the quote-unquote correct way. And there's particular game modes that they'll come up with during certain times of the year, like brawls, where it's 2v2, and you're literally the capture point's right in the middle, and you have no choice but to just go in head to head. And I personally really enjoy doing that. But the mechanics of the game are they're just amazing, and I really enjoy them because they kind of bring together, like I said before, that kind of an aspect of first-person shooter, but then also when you look at your captain's abilities and your ship gear and things like that, it's almost kind of an MMO kind of a thing in terms of kind of your build. And then on top of that, you have the strategy side of it. And so you have all three of those things really kind of coming together to make this very unique play style in a game that, in my opinion, is pretty unmatched, outside of these wargaming kind of styles of games. And I think Warships really does it the best. Next thing I want to talk about is the cost aspect. So this is a free-to-play game. You can download it for free, play it for free. Now, I have friends, and I also have a second account. I'm weird like that. Every game I play, I do a second account, especially if I'm going to make content on it, where I do it completely free-to-play, and I don't spend any kind of real-life money whatsoever. From that experience, I can tell you that you can play this game for years and years and years and unlock what seems like endless amount of ships via in-game play and resources without spending a dime. You do progress faster if you have premium time, so you get boost XP, things like that, but you can still grind through the game, play through the game, have fun, and be able to get ships. There are hundreds and hundreds of ships in the game. And what I really like about this compared to some of the other, say, MMOs and stuff that I play is that in my opinion, there's not pay to win. Now, you can pay to progress faster with the XP boost, and you can buy premium ships, and some of those premium ships are better in some instances than what you would get from the tech tree. But it really comes down to if you're a good player or not. Now, if you're two equally skilled players and someone has, a premium ship and you don't, again, that doesn't mean that you're going to automatically lose. I think the balance between them is pretty good. It really comes down to who makes the better choices. Now, if you're brawling head to head, you might have a little bit of an advantage if you're in a premium ship. But to me, it's balanced pretty well, and that's not a big issue. But what I like about this the most is that the most powerful ships in the game, tier 10 ships, are not purchasable. You cannot buy them. You cannot just start the game and purchase the highest tier ships in the game. They are only earnable through gameplay. So, and there's a number of different ways to do it. So you can do clan battles where you would need to be involved in a clan and earn steel, and you can get nice high-end ships like that. Most people don't have the opportunity to do that, especially if they want to, maybe they don't have friends that play the game or they don't want to be social, you just want to solo it. You can buy coal ships that are very, very good. There's research bureau ships. And I know all of these things, obviously are not something you know about if you're watching this video and trying to decide whether or not you want to play the game. But if you do start, there's many guides that can help you through those things. But the point is that the most powerful ships that you can get in the game at tier 10 are not purchasable, meaning you don't have to buy them, and you can't buy them. So when you get up to that kind of level where you're running tier 10 battles and participating potentially in events, no one's going to have an advantage over you in terms of money they've spent on the game. Other than they could be using, buying premium time, which is they don't do a subscription for this game. You buy basically days of premium time, and it gives you a boost to the amount of XP and credits that you earn with ships. And so the only advantage they have is that they might have got there a little bit faster than you did if you started at the same time. But it's still completely obtainable in-game without spending money. And again, just to reiterate, you can't even whale out and go and purchase top-tier ships. Now, in conclusion, the last thing I want to go over is the state of the game and how the game's being maintained and the potential future for it. And, I'm not an expert on this, but I do play a lot of games, some that are dying, some that are new, some that have been around a long time, and on and on and on. And this game, I've found that in the last 2 years where I've played fairly consistently, I'll take breaks here and there if I'm playing something else, but I'm finding that the amount of ships that are being added to the game is pretty regular. So at least once a quarter, if not once every, month or two. And when I say, adding ships, we're talking about adding, lines of ships to the earnable tech tree. So if you look at the tech tree and you go into some of these, you'll see these branch offs where there's additional ones. This one actually originally was here, but in any case, these were added, months back. There's other ones like on the cruiser side here. These breakouts are things that are added, and in some instances, there's entire new nations being added where none of this was even here before. So these bottom 1, 2, 3, these weren't even here when I first started playing the game heavily, 2 years ago. And so it's not just the extra nations, but also the expansion in the individual lines where you can see, that they've tiered out here, or branched out into slightly different variations. In some cases, like with these newer ones, there's only destroyers, and at some point we'll probably see cruisers and battleships and on and on and on. So the amount of additional content that's being added in terms of the ships themselves is very good. There's also premium ships that are added, but I don't feel like that's happening more than the free-to-play stuff or the earnable ships. You might get one every quarter or so. So that's not something that you see them trying to cram down your throat to buy stuff in terms of the ships themselves. Now, there are, loot boxes and things like that. I think for the most part, they're pretty fair compared to some of the other MMOs that I play. They do give you the specific, chances or stats on the drop rates, which I like. And they're pretty transparent about that. There has been some issues and complaints in the past, and I think rightfully so. And I also think that they responded to those kind of issues very well, where they completely refunded people money, reset, back to before someone maybe bought a bunch of stuff, not fully understanding, or they didn't communicate it properly what those drop rates were. So I found that the response even to, criticism and issues with that have been very, very good, which I appreciate that. In terms of game modes, they're constantly adding and adjusting different things. So there's ranked seasons that happen at all the different tiers. I preferably like some of the lower tier 6, ranked battles are fun. Same thing with clan battles, with the brawls. There's convoy missions. There's daily missions that you can do where it's more of an objective as opposed to just a death match. So the versatility and the actual kind of gameplay itself is good, and it's constantly being updated and added to. On top of that, completely new styles of ships are being added to the game, like subs, and you can't currently purchase or earn them in game. They're unlockable in missions that you can get, and you can use them during that, I guess we'll call it a season, because they're still in testing and still flushing out, the balancing and things like that. But the cool part is that you get to play and use those, while that process is happening, which I really enjoy, and I think that's really cool that's kind of something they do. There is a test server, but they still are starting to roll that in so that the players at large can try out these new things, give feedback. They can, kind of gauge how people are liking them and really see how, the balancing of those things are affecting, the game and the different battle modes. So overall, to me, it seems that, the game is in very good health. They are certainly not sparing, any kind of expense on, adding new, content and ships and missions and game modes and kinds, classes of ships. So the ongoing development on the game seems to be very, very strong to me. So I think that, if you're looking at wanting to potentially try it, number one, it's a great game, even if they didn't change another thing about it and it stayed the way that it is. But, if you get into it and you're liking it, because I know sometimes you'll look at a game, it looks cool, but it's been out for a while and you're worried, am I going to get into this, like it, and then it's going to go into maintenance mode. I don't see that happening here anytime soon at all. Graphics are also constantly updated. I mean, just over the last year, there's been quite a bit. Sometimes it's nuanced stuff, fog, the way snow sits, different things like that. They're nuanced things that really add to the overall experience when, you're playing the game. Lastly, what I want to mention is there's also, you can mod the game. And what I like about the mods on this game is, number one, they're not game breaking, or OP, but they are nice quality of life kinds of things. So you can get, reticles that will help adjust to distance and based off of your shell velocity. You can get a little either more or less or specific kinds of information on your mini maps or on the information over the other ships. It goes on and on. I really like using the calm water effect. So like currently in the harbor here, you have, it's not rough seas, but it's kind of moving. I use one that's really glassy and it reflects the sky off it and it looks beautiful. What's cool about it is that there's a program called Mod Stations. It's something that Wargaming, approves. And implements this app that basically plugs them in. So you can select from these third-party mods that are approved by Wargaming World of Warships, and it automatically installs them. So once they're in, you just go in and just configure them just like you would any of the other game settings. So it's nice and easy. They tend to not have any kind of problems, and you don't have to worry if you're using their software for that about potentially getting in some kind of trouble by using some sort of exploit mod or something like that. A lot of my friends don't even use them. They don't care. I personally do, but I only use a very small amount. Most of it is kind of visual. I like the way it makes the game look. Some of my friends, I don't even know what's going on. There's just so much stuff on their screen from all the different kinds of mods. But whether you want to use them or don't, no problem. If you do want to use them, they're very easy to use. You can use lots, you can use a little bit. It's just a nice thing that, again, that they saw the community wanted something like this, and in my mind, compared to other games that I play, they went above and beyond in order to meet those kind of needs. So I also, appreciate that. And if I'm being honest, I don't really have a lot of complaints. I generally don't complain in general, though, about games. My biggest pet peeves are, loot boxes that don't have drop rates and things like that. To me, that's just a little bit sleazy. This game doesn't have that. That would be probably the main thing I would complain about in a game. But other than that, and this game doesn't have it. So, I really don't have any complaints. I love the game. I'm going to be playing it for quite a while going forward here. And I would encourage you to try it out if it looks like something that you would enjoy doing. If you are interested in joining the game and trying it out, I do have a referral code down in the description. If you click on that and then set up the account through that link, you will get a bunch of in-game loot. Currently, right now, it's giving a bunch of credits, port slots. There's a couple different premium ships that it'll give you. They're not super high tier, but it'll help you, boost up and get through, grinding up some of those different, not tier lines, but, the XP and things like that. They're unique ships as well, which is nice. Those do kind of change and rotate. So if you're watching this a little bit down the road, there might be something different there. But when you click on the link, it'll show you exactly what you would get. It's completely free. You click on it, it helps me, and you get a whole bunch of in-game loot at no expense to yourself. So if you are interested, I'd appreciate if you use that link. If you have any questions, comments, let me know what you guys think. If you've played the game for a while and you just watched this just for fun, let me know how I did. I am certainly not a pro on this game. I'm just a dude that, loves video games, and if I feel like I can, give something back in terms of some information or my opinion that might be helpful to others, I like to do that because I just enjoy making videos. So, all right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Until next time, stay safe, and thank you very much for watching.